Off we go. So yeah, welcome everybody to this super exciting session. I'm just going to share my slides a moment. My name is Beck Pitt, and I am one of the co-directors of the Global OER Graduate Network. I'm really delighted to be with you today and to have the opportunity to talk to you and announce our GoGM Pilot Regional Hubs, some really fantastic work that we're very fortunate to have the opportunity to explore over the coming months. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to kind of situate this work and spend a few minutes talking about the background to this work and the background to the GoGM Regional Hubs, as this penguin says. Let me explain how it all fits together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go around and hear from each of our 4 hubs in turn about the work that they're doing. People will tell you a bit about themselves, how you can get involved, and you'll have the opportunity as well. We'll have a kind of questions and next steps bit as well, so you can hear what we've got planned coming up as well over the coming months. So regional hubs, way back in 2023, some of you may remember we had a workshop in Edmonton in Canada, where it was the biggest workshop that we had. We had around 30 GoGM members and alumni. This was the kind of culmination of a period of work that we were doing to kind of capture the history of the network, but also look forward. And one of the outputs from that was our strategic review. And one of the things that was identified as a result of this kind of conversation with our membership was a request, the request from our members for greater federation and to kind of explore that. And that was something that we're very fortunate to have received additional funding from the Hewlett Foundation to do over the next 14, 15 months period, taking us to kind of spring next year. And the focus of this work really is also on building capacity and better supporting our diverse and growing membership. So we have around 200 doctoral researcher and alumni members currently, and then a wider community of practice of around 260, 70 people. And that's continuing to grow with representation from 30 different countries around the world. This work is also contributing to our ongoing commitment and work around EDI and open education. So we had an open call, as you will remember, back in spring 2025. Anybody from the network could apply for this, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And then we have our pilot regional hub, 6-month pilots that will be running from August to January. And I'll talk a little bit in January next year, and I'll talk a little bit about the schedule of work and what's coming up and the kind of outputs that we've got coming from that in a moment. But if you do want to go and check out the strategic review, you can find that on our outputs page on the website. So underpinning this work as well is activity that some of you will no doubt have been involved in, which is the collaborative development of our code of conduct. And this kind of sits under and underpins the work that we're doing, both in terms of our regional hubs, but other activities across the network, with the aim of people feeling respected and supported at GoGN hosted events and activities. And we're going to be reviewing this annually. And of course, the experiences of our regional hubs as well will be feeding into that when we do that in the next period, early next year. So this is really providing the foundation for this and other activities that we're doing. So it's part of the building blocks that we're kind of putting into place for this work as well. So I'll leave the hubs to tell you a bit more about the work that they're going to be doing. But we're supporting our hubs in a number of different ways going forward. We've got a fantastic new member of the team, Saraswati, who is leading on our evaluation. And so there are regular evaluation check-in points throughout the kind of 6-month period. We really want to support as well the communication both between the GoGM membership, but also between the hubs themselves as well, and really look to kind of amplify the activities of the regional hubs and promote and support people as best we can throughout this process. Obviously, we've got today's session where you're going to hear more about the fantastic work that colleagues have done or have got planned. But we want to also continue that, and there will be further webinars and opportunities to connect and hear from our hubs, both through things like blog posts and kind of webinars and other activities. We also have some fantastic new visual identity assets, as you can see sprinkled through this presentation, is some of the wonderful artwork that our regional hubs have developed with Brian from Visual Thinkery. So a big thanks to everybody for that work to produce those assets. Really exciting and really bring to life the hub kind of aims and concepts through this artwork. Finally, and just to give a heads up as well to the wider membership, we are planning a face-to-face knowledge sharing event. So this is part of the kind of bringing our hubs together to share their experiences, and that will be open to the wider GoGN membership. We'll be sharing more details of how you can participate in the application process in early November, but that will be most likely now at the end of February. But we will be sharing more details on that soon. So there is this knowledge sharing event. We are very keen to document. It's very much an exploratory process to kind of share that evaluation and the assets that will be created as part of this work with the wider membership as we move forward. And that knowledge sharing event is a key part of that. Oops. Moving on. Okay, just to give you a quick progress update as well, and just to reflect on some of the progress that's been made since starting this work in the spring of this year. So we had a high level of interest in the call as well. We're quite a short kind of period in which the call was open for. I think it was around 6 weeks or so. We're aware some people couldn't apply or weren't in a position to apply during that period. So this is part of our reflection with taking and noting and reflecting on these kind of feedback as we go through this process. But the fact that there's a high level of interest, the ideas that people were sharing with us, this is all really important. It helps us kind of in looking forward to the kind of next steps of the network into next spring and our kind of planning hope for the next phase of GoGN as well. So this is all really crucial and important kind of work. We received 6 submissions to our call for proposals, which was really fantastic, and very grateful to our external reviewers, Jane, Martin and Robert, for working with us to review the applications and the submissions with the team to reach the final decision. We've obviously key to kind of making progress has been contracting and putting in place all the kind of necessary behind the scenes things to make this work possible. So that's been a big part of the past few months as well. As I mentioned a moment ago, we've co-created our visual identities, which has been really fantastic, really great kind of open assets that we've got for all of the hubs. We've also been developing some support for our hubs in terms of producing Q&As and providing slide decks and other kind of materials. And then, as I mentioned, Saraswati is leading on the monthly evaluation check-ins to meet with each hub each month and kind of document and hear from them about how things are going. So I think I've probably said enough, and what everyone really wants to hear about is our regional hubs. So as people may have already seen, we have 4 fantastic hubs, our Ibero-American hub, our Canadian hub, our Kenyan hub, and also our Asia Pacific hub. So really fantastic. And I'm very, very excited now to turn this session over to colleagues so that they can share more on the work that they're doing. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides now a moment, and we're going to go first of all actually, let me just show who we're going to first, which is our Asia Pacific hub. And I'm going to hand over to V, who's going to share more on the work that she's doing. So I'm going to stop sharing now. Thanks so much, V, and I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Beck. Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello from the future, actually, because I'm now in Melbourne. It's already the early morning of the Friday, 24th October. So yeah, hi from the future. And my name is V Truong, for those who haven't met me before. So I'm a GoGN alumni, and I am from the University of Melbourne. I am really, really delighted to be here and to introduce the Asia Pacific GoGN Hub. And well, the hub itself will be led from Melbourne, and it covers, I must say, a wonderful, diverse region. including the Southeast Asia, East Asia, South Asia, Oceania, and also Pacific Islands. So why Asia Pacific? So what I think was when I proposed the idea, so this region is incredibly rich in diversity. And we are talking about, hundreds of languages, cultures, and education systems, and all bringing unique perspective on openness. And also the higher education and research across, different sectors and also the regions are growing very fast, very rapidly, with a strong interest in open science, OER, digital innovation, but despite this growth, many researchers, especially those in the global south, still lack visibility and access to global research networks. So at the same time, there are vibrant local movements in the open education in countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. However, the limited coordination or collaboration across the border somehow, making it a little bit hinder the open movement in these countries. So this is, I believe, where the hub comes in. We have the very good opportunity to build the bridges between practice, policy, and research, and especially supporting the researcher and PhD researchers to somehow connect the local initiative with the global conversations. So and ultimately the hub, Asia Pacific hub, aims to somehow amplify the regional voice, supporting collaboration and strengthen the GoGN global network through inclusive and also community-driven research. So with that background, let me share what we aim to achieve during the pilot phase in 2025. So this year is really about laying the foundations. Connecting people, learning from the regions, and also building the structure that will support the long-term collaboration. So first, we will focus on connecting researchers across the region, especially PhD researcher, which I fortunately already found 3 PhD researchers so far, and the other researchers are, are really wonderful add-on, but still my focus is still on PhD researchers. And I really want to particularly emphasize on the regions of Southeast Asia, because we think that I think that where open education research is very vibrant, but often, it's scattered across institutions and languages. So I think we will support the regional collaboration through both online meetups and in-person events, so we can create a space for people to share research experience and ideas. So a key part of the pilot is to identify the research trends and also, share the priorities that are most relevant to the Asia-Pacific context. So to somehow understand what openness means in different countries and where our efforts can have the greatest impact. And we also explore the governance models that reflect the GoGN values of equity, inclusion, and openness. So we try to ensure that participants is fair, diverse, and community-driven. And also, at the same time, the hub will try to amplify and complement the GoGN team in the UK. We try to have to extend their reach and also sharing local insights and co-creating regional activities that fit into the global network. And finally, this pilot will provide some I believe that is applicable to the other hubs as well. That is the reflective insights to lay the foundation for the long-term success, helping us to understand what needed for a sustainable and community-driven hub that truly represent the region. So it's both a learning phase and co-creation phase process. So the first, these are some activities that we plan to conduct in by the end of this year and early next year. So the first event will take place in late November in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So it will be a one-day informal workshop for Vietnamese GoGN members and researchers who are exploring openness in education, science, or technology. So during this section, participants will present their ongoing research, discuss national trends, and share how open practices are developing locally. I decided to organize this workshop in Vietnam mainly because there have been some exciting developments in the country, open education landscape recently, very recently. So Vietnam is currently preparing for its first official government decree on OER in higher education. So this is a very big milestone for Vietnamese researcher in this area, in OER and open education. And many local researchers are actively contributing to that policy work. And so I think by providing the venue for them to share research and exchange ideas, I also hope the workshop can support these ongoing national efforts and highlights how research can inform policy in a very meaningful way. And the key insights of the findings from this workshop will then be brought to our next event, the Asia Pacific Open Movement Roundtable in Jakarta, Indonesia in January 2026. So the roundtable will gather GoGN members from across Southeast Asia. Well, I know that the name of the hub is Asia Pacific, but because of the time limited, within only a few months. So I better focus on the Southeast Asia area. So again, so this roundtable will gather GoGN members from this area, and also we try to exchange ideas, co-design activities, and discuss the shared priorities for openness across the regions. So together, these two events, we hope that it will help us to connect local voices to regional collaboration and build a foundation for the Asia Pacific Hub's growth in 2025. And as we start this journey, I really love to connect with those who are, based in or connected with this Asia Pacific region. And if you are interested in supporting the growth of the hub, or in, collaborating on any of these upcoming activities, do reach out to me. And there are many ways to get involved. You can share the hub priorities, co-design events, workshop, or simply share insights and experience from your own country or community. So I believe working together, we can strengthen the GoGN collective presence in the regions, and also ensure that Southeast Asia voices are strongly represented in the global education conversation. And so do get in touch, and I'll be delighted to collaborate and build a sustainable, inclusive, and community-driven hub with all of you. Yeah, thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing your ideas and working together in the months ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, V, for that fantastic presentation. I can see lots of applause coming from colleagues and in the room. That was incredible work. I know, very excited to hear about the outcomes of those, which I know you'll be sharing. So thank you so much. Wonderful. And please do, if you are in the room or you are watching the recording, reach out to V and connect to find out more and get involved in that exciting work. Thank you so much, V. That's brilliant. We're going to move on to our next hub now. If you have questions for V at all, please pop them in the chat. We'll come at the end as well. We'll have time for questions as well then, but please do continue the conversation as we move on. And we're moving to another part of the world now, and we're going to move to our colleagues at the Ibero-American hub. So I'm going to pass over now to Paco and Virginia to hear more. But thank you so much again, V, for that fantastic presentation.
Hello, everyone. Honored to be here. Great pleasure to be sharing all the hubs and all these initiatives together. Virginia?
Okay. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Nice to be here to join this fantastic adventure that is going to be these regional hubs, and I want to thank to the GoGN core team to provide this opportunity for the people that is in different regions in the world to collaborate with their fantastic work they have been doing during the last decade, and hopefully to contribute with this activity and to improve them with our experiences and diversities, and with all the work we are going to conduct during these pilots. Well, I want to introduce me. I'm Virginia Rodés. I'm the co-coordinator of the Ibero-American GoGN Hub. And I am research professor at the Institute for the Future of Education Europe, that is based in Spain, and it's an initiative of the Tecnológico de Monterrey in Mexico. So we're in like a bridge connecting those areas that are our focus. It's a pleasure to present the Ibero-American Hub of the Global OER Graduate Network pilot. This initiative emerged from a clear gap in representations. We see that despite the vitality and diversity of the open education movements across Latin America, Spain, and Portugal, the region remains underrepresented in GoGN's structures. So we seek to address this gap by creating a multilingual, inclusive, and strategically positioned regional hub that connects researchers, practitioners, and institutions from both the Global South and Global North, with a particular emphasis on cultural and linguistic diversity. So our main objective is to conduct and to create the foundations for an inclusive research infrastructure, the recruitment and mentoring of new members, a bilingual or multilingual exchange in Spanish and Portuguese, to conduct virtual and impersonal regional dialogues, and to strategic contribution with the global GoGN.
Thank you very much, Virginia. As you said before, we are co-coordinating and piloting together this fantastic experience of the Ibero-American Hub. I think one of the strengths from the start is that we have had the support of quite a few members and alumni from the network. We count with people around 7 countries in the Ibero-American context, which in the end is huge. We need to take care of many diversity and differences among countries and realities. And also experts from the network, total of 15 already have joined and sharing their knowledge, and very useful to reach places we couldn't know before. And actually this is one of the objectives of the hubs. So we obviously have to thank the support of the 5 UNESCO chairs we have on board. We have the Open Educational Movement for Latin America based in Tech Monterrey, also Open Education Chair from the University of the Republic in Uruguay, the Open Education and Technologies for the Common Good from Brazil, so that also gives different views already in the American continent, the Latin American continent, better said. And in Iberia, we have the view from Spain in distant education and the digital humanities in education from Nova University in Lisbon.
Yes, we want to add also our supports that we received by members of GoGN as already members, but also by a network of ambassadors across 7 countries and an advisory board of 15 experts. So as I already said, the administrative center will be hosted at IFE Europe in Bilbao. And additionally, the hub collaborates closely with the 5 UNESCO chairs and Latin American key open education research groups like the INEL at UNED, CIEDA at Universidad de la República, and LED at Universidad Aberta de Portugal. So in total, we have 24 higher education institutions, associated members, and organizations across at least 13 countries will participate, forming a powerful bridge between Ibero-America and global open education communities.
Thank you very much, Virginia. We can see the multilingual place in already a typo that is been left in Spanish in this slide. That's okay. So some of the key activities we are trying to address in September, Virginia was in Paris, attending the UNESCO Digital Learning Week. There were already meetings held during that week with key people. Also, now it's been very busy in October. Last week, we had the chance to present at OI Global Tour 2025, invited by Marcela Morales from OI Global. This week, we had a very successful face-to-face presentation in Salamanca, where I'm right now, and the team conference, and yesterday at the Distant University conference held in Mexico City. Next months are going to be super busy. We are attending the workshop and doctoral consortium at the LACLO conference in Colombia, which is a key point from educational technology and open educational movement in the Latin American context. We were having a face-to-face workshop in Bilbao, Spain. This is mostly focused on the experts. And then the big event is happening in January, where we hope to invite at least, hopefully, 10 new members to the IFER conference in Tech Monterrey, where we will be hosting a workshop and as well being involved in the doctoral consortium there. So I think it's really incredible, all these things happening in these 6 months.
So just to finish this presentation, we want to highlight our expected outcomes, that is to produce a bilingual directory of stakeholders and events to enhance visibility and coordination of all the work that is being done by the community, the Ibero-American community, in open education and related fields. As all of us, we expect to recruit at least 5 new members from the region. We hope to be more, but let's see. We will deliver 3 multilingual webinars and blogs to promote knowledge sharing. Our in-person workshop will consolidate the network structures and integrating new doctoral candidates members to GoGN institutional culture. And finally, we will contribute to the GoGN evaluation report, and also with a pilot framework for multilingual participation that we are constructing. The Ibero-American Hub will aim to play a pivotal role in advancing linguistic diversity, equity, and South-North knowledge flows in open education field, and articulating research, mentorship, and strategic events. We aim to help to transform the underrepresentation of the region into active leadership and sustainable contribution. The Hub is conceived not merely as a coordination platform, but as a collaborative space that reflects the plurality of voices, practices, and research trajectories in open education in Ibero-America. Thank you very much for your attention. We look forward to your question and reflection, and please join us in this fantastic adventure if you are based in Spain, Portugal, and Latin American countries, and also to share with all the fantastic hubs that are being launched today.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Virginia and Paco. Such a great presentation and fantastic work. So important, such important work. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And colleagues, please get in touch. Please feel free to add your questions and comments to the chat as we go. Thank you so much, Virginia and Paco. Fantastic. We're going to move on now to our next hub. So we're going to Canada now, and I'm going to hand over to Canadian colleagues to take us through the exciting work that's happening there. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks so much there, and good day to everyone that's here. We're very excited to share along our other hub, other hubs, I guess, best way to say it, in different parts of the world. So we are representing the GoGN Canada Hub. My name is Dr. Connie Blomgren, and I work at Athabasca University. And alongside me today are the other co-leads, Darrion, Letendre, and Dr. Agava, Palalas. So we're focusing on our hub about land-based learning and open education. and thinking about Indigenous ways of knowing and open education practices and moving together in a good way. If you have never been to Jasper National Park, which is located in Alberta, just west from Edmonton, about a 4-hour drive, you're looking here at the Athabasca River early in the spring. And this is actually before there was a terrible fire in 2024 in the summertime. And quite a bit of what you'd see here, those trees are all now burnt. So it was a devastating fire, and it does relate to our entire hub, because we are thinking about how we can think about climate change, open education, open science, and Indigenous ways of knowing, and the overlap and incompatibility of some of those things. As we do in Canada, we always, we need to practice in a respectful manner this understanding of our connection to the land. And because we're distributed throughout Canada in the hub, and I was the one who created the slide deck, I opted to just talk about my own home territory where I live. So I acknowledge and live in the present day Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta, the lands of the Niitsitapi, that is the Blackfoot Nation, and my home is in the traditional territories of the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina, and the Ohira Nakota nations. This area is also part of the Métis homeland. I take personal responsibility to understand our shared history and my personal role in conciliation and reconciliation. Nitsiatiak, I am grateful for our shared living environment. And I would just like to point out that this photograph is of Chief Mountain. It's a very beautiful mountain. It's interesting because half of that mountain is in Canada and half of it is in the United States. So as you can see, that our hub is very much interested in paying attention to growing out our understanding of what is open education, what does this mean when we think about Indigenous knowledge, Indigenous ways of knowing, and what this means for people in Canada, obviously. And we are a mature hub. I think we have quite a few alumni that I can't remember the full number right off the top of my head. But we are a mature hub, so we kind of know each other fairly well, but we're very dispersed because our country is so large. And so we're looking at this idea of how do we create better, deeper, more respectful, ethical understanding of what it means to decolonize curriculum, decolonize research, decolonize our ways of being as people in this country. And so open education with its values on wanting to share and do it in a good way needs to think carefully and critically around what does that mean when we think about Indigenous ways of knowing. So I'm going to pass this microphone over to Darrion here.
Yeah, thanks, Connie.
And yeah, I'm going to try and get to the next slide.
Yeah, whenever.
Oh,
Awesome. Perfect. Looks great. Well, good day, good morning, good evening, my friends. Thanks, Connie, for the wonderful intro. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Darrion Letendre. I'm one of the co-leads on our project for our Canadian Hub. I'm a Nehiyaw Métis man, originally from Kelly Lake Cree Nation and Horse Lake First Nation, Treaty Number 8 territory, but a grateful guest here in Miskwichiwiskaiga, Treaty Number 6 territory. That's Edmonton, Alberta. And yeah, as Connie was mentioning, you know, this was a really fantastic opportunity for us to bring together our members and our contributors to this very beautiful site, which I would love to speak a little bit more to, as it is such a special place, as Connie was mentioning. So for me, Jasper actually lies at the confluence and the intersection of Treaty Number 6 and Treaty Number 8 territory. So it was a very remarkable place to gather as people to really start exploring, what are the intersections of open education, of Indigenous people's knowledge and education practices and culture? What are the inherent connections, but what are some of the disconnects that exist as well? It's not always perfect, but this was a chance for us to come together as a community and to really establish that sense of what we would say in Nehiawewen as Wakotuan, this kinship practice. It's understood by many on our team that in order to lead in this work, in the educational, revitalization of open education, that we have to move forward in ways that are truly meaningful, that are rooted in connection, in collaboration, in kinship, in the spirit of open. And so for me and for our knowledge keeper and elder land scout, as a chance for us to come together, to pass cultural knowledge, to pass perspective as it relates to open education, but culture, and really find that rooting in the land. The beautiful thing about land-based learning, if you're unfamiliar with the practice, is that it really acknowledges and respects that land is also a teacher. And in order to listen and to receive the teachings from the land, you have to be out on the land. So this was a great opportunity for us to really explore what that meant to myself and to Lance, but really what that meant to us as a network, what that meant to us as the Canadian Hub, and really exploring what we can offer in terms of Indigenous people's education and this connection that we hold so close, as many Canadians do. Our territory and our country is so massive, and yet we still have these beautiful opportunities to come together, to bring knowledge together, and to share that perspective with the world. And it really explored this truly collaborative leadership model, where it was, when you're in this space, we are all learners, but we're all teachers at the same time. It's a very beautiful cyclical model of knowledge sharing that we're hoping to share with the world. And there's many cool ways in which we're doing that. So if we go to the next slide, I'll chat a little bit more on what our project is working on. We've had a lot of great milestones, a lot of great things that we're working towards, and including the creation of 2+ blog posts, of course, recruiting 5+ new GoGN members. I think we've already almost got there, if we haven't surpassed that at this point. Currently engaging in an online book study, which Agava will share more about in the future slides. And really, we've established and moved this community connection into a Discord group. So it's a place for our network members and our regional hub to come together, to chat and to visit and to share about their reflections, about things that they're learning as it relates to the experience in Jasper. And as you can see here, this is a photo of one of our days where we were exploring camp setup, and really thinking about how does land-based learning really integrate into the work, or not even integrate, but how does it complement and coexist with the work that we do? So really building this aspect of building, which really makes me excited about our hub logo, which I think we spent a lot of time. So many thanks to Brian Mathers and that team over there. But if you see our logo, the beaver, the humble yet mighty beaver, is a world builder. They're great engineers. And so we also got to model, a lot of these beliefs and these ways of knowing and being. And this was all a culmination of our experience in Jasper. At the cultural use area, which again brought us many teachings. I think that we were all very aware, and we became more aware of the knowledge that the land held. So I was really excited to be able to come out there with the team, and hopefully by the end of our work and the end of the pilot phase, that we will be able to submit the final report and kind of capture and recapture and revitalize that story and the experience that we had shared together. But I think I'd love to pass it off to Agava to share more about our online book study, which we're really excited about.
Thank you so much, Darrion. Thank you, Connie. It's wonderful to be part of the team. I'm also a co-leader, Palalas from Athabasca University, and I am joining you from a different corner of Canada, from the Treaty 2022, the land of Mississaugas. And I'm so happy to be here with you. And yes, just reflecting very quickly on all the various steps that we've taken to build a very strong mature hub, but also to be building a new dimension to the hub and opening up to new learning. And that's a process. That's a process that we know it's going to take a while for us to build deep understanding, deep trust. We talk a lot about trust, and spending time together on land for the core team right now was that very, very important fundamental step to building that trust and openness to new learning that's going to take us further and deeper into our learning and understanding. In order to have that ongoing process of sustainability, we've invested time and thought and energy into the various activities that Darrion has mentioned already, and one of them being our online book study. I know in other countries you refer to book clubs. It is a club for us. It's lots of fun, but it's a study because we also learning a lot. If you look at the title of the book, Waiwach, it's authored by an Indigenous author now, and speaks to Indigenous pedagogies and ways of knowing in the help of Act for Reconciliation and anti-racist education. Now, what we've been doing, we've been exploring chapter by chapter, page by page, the meaning, and exploring Indigenous knowledge and Western education through concepts such as two-eyed seeing, very important, opening up our perspective. Now, open educational resources and open educational practices are the core of what we're doing, right? So creating this and rooting our practice and our learning and respect, reciprocity, and obligation that Connie has already mentioned, and we've chosen to sustain, obligation to support the colonization and indigenization of our learning. Extremely important. I've spoken a little bit to the sustainability of this community and what is the glue. The glue is our eagerness, openness, willingness to understand new ways. And we have knowledge keepers and teachers. We are all teachers in the room, in this room here that we meet and everywhere we go, including the land. And we build open educational practices beyond what used to be our own understanding of open practices. Next slide, please. Now, one more thing, why I said that we're going with our book study beyond the timelines, because we hope it's going to be an online practice. We do meet regularly on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, and we hope to build this very healthy habit of exploring new books, new ideas during that slot on Tuesdays that we've all made. So it's become so sacred to us, that meeting space. So once again, just to wrap up, what really matters to us is, looking into the overlap and learning from open educational practices and indigenous knowledge practices, with always our practices and our goals and intentions being underpinned by ethical knowledge sharing. So approach that models respectful, ethical knowledge sharing and supports Indigenous research methods and our precious relationships also to the land. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aga, Connie and Darrion, for that fantastic presentation. And it's so wonderful to see those pictures of the event in Jasper as well. So exciting and just wonderful to see the landscapes. Thank you so much for sharing such brilliant work. Thank you. Fantastic. Thanks so much. I can see lots of love and applause coming in as well. And thank you for sharing in the chat. As Rob said, it's really exciting to be able to share this work through this session and for everyone to be here together in this space. So really appreciate everyone for sharing. We're now turning to our fourth hub, and I'm going to hand over now to Stan, who I think is on the call, who's going to tell us more about the Kenya hub. Stan. if I may hand over to you.
Thank you, Beck. Hi, everyone. Good evening from Kenya. It's coming to 5 p.m. So thank you. My name is Dr. Agava Stanislaus. I'm a GoGN alumni, having benefited from the different experiences from GoGN until when I was developing my PhD. GoGN gave me the confidence and the experience to present. I currently work at, I used to work at Tangaza University College with my colleague who is here, Bete, Judith. But I moved to I work with the government now with the National Intelligence and Research University. It's a university that is training purposely only the spy agents in the country and from all over Africa. I also work with the Kenya Library Services and Consortium, which is a consortium that brings together approximately 180 institutions, tertiary institutions, including more than 70 universities in the country. I also work as the chief editor-in-chief of the African Journal of Strategic and Security Studies here in Kenya. So, when GN sent out this particular call, I decided to make an application based on various purposes. Number one is that I've been placed in the strategic team, in the national strategic team that is working on some coming up with some policy as far as open education is concerned, and the open realm is concerned, because early this year, we had a conference that took place at the university, one of the universities in the country, and we were looking at on open access in the country. And I was also part of the summit that took place in Cape Town last year in December, still looking at that decolonization of knowledge in Africa. And open access, open education comes in, it's the larger umbrella, and I feel open resources or whatever open diamond access tends to fit in as far as this is concerned. So we are hosted by the Kenya Library Services and Information Consortium, and our hub is we're calling it KOEC, that is the Kenya Open Education and Knowledge Equity Hub. And therefore, our activities are going to run between August and January next year. Introducing the KOEC, the Kenya Open Education Knowledge Equity as a GoGN hub, his intention is to localize the open education conceptualization around both in Kenya and in East Africa. And I'll give a reason why I add East Africa at the end of it. And it's hosted by Kenya Library Services Consortium because our main aim is to leverage on its strong network of universities, particularly the Kenya Library Services, because the main purpose of the Kenya Library Services, or KLISC, was to bring together institutions and pool resources together for purposes of buying electronic resources. But this sustainability, again, is not really so much achieved because the resources are becoming more and more expensive. Institutions, funding for institutions is not really guaranteed as far as purchasing these resources is concerned. And therefore, we have to look for other alternative sources and open resources, especially when we are working closely with IFOL, and it's really helping us have access to open resources. So the reason why this had to be anchored or be hosted within KLISC, there's no way you can talk about open education without also talking about open resources, or open resources that are available for whoever is looking for this education. In as much as we have the discussion of open education in the country, one of the things as being a member of the task force is to realize that the discussion around it is still only remaining a discussion in the boardrooms, but not a discussion that is being practiced. In as much as we have an open university in the country, still people have not yet conceptualized what is open university really doing in the country, and what is it offering different from other universities. So the mission of this particular hub, one is to advance open education research, to amplify the African voices, particularly in publication, in disseminating their research, in trying to share their research openly, trying to foster some kind of collaboration and inclusivity among members, especially members who have joined this particular hub, and then build sustainable systems for equity and inclusion. And I'll show you why that is coming out so clearly, particularly in the membership that now form as members of the KOIC group. Why a hub in Kenya? Though it is, I've tried to explain, but mostly is to strengthen the region participation in global education. As I indicated that there is the talk of open education in the country. There's open university in the country, but the conceptualization has not yet really been rooted in the policies, in the practice, in the deliverables within the country. We were looking, for example, at one of the Vision 2030 within the country, and we have found out that yes, there is talk of education, equitable access to education, but that component of open education in Vision 2030 in the country is not there. And therefore, that's why we want to strengthen that kind of participation. The question is, will we be in a position to influence policy in such a way that Vision 2030 will have an appendix on open education? That's what we will want to try our level best as far as this is concerned. And we want to build local capacity for ER and research in the country. In as much as we want to access resources, in as much as we want to access education openly, we must also be in a position to contribute to this particular education. And that's why one of the core aspect that we are hanging on decolonization of education or decolonization of knowledge is anchored on this, that we do not just want to be dependent, but we also want to contribute to the limelight. We want to tell our story from this end of the world and share it with other people. We want also to foster collaboration among universities, researchers, and librarians. As you realize that there's no way open education can thrive without the resources, and there's no way you can access these resources unless you have librarians around you, and we have researchers around you. Librarians again have to be educated, they have to be trained, they have to be sensitized on what open education is, so that they may be in a position to. And that's why a number of the people who are members of the KOIC in Kenya at the moment, that this particular hub, majority of them are librarians, because we want to build capacity, and this capacity will be the one that will help us now spread the gospel. We want to ensure there is incorporation of East African perspectives, shapes of open education, and I'll still indicate what that, and support Kenya's education and innovation goals. As far as this is concerned, Kenyan education at the moment is now undergoing some form of transformation, having dropped one system of education and now adopted another system. So how do we now internalize, and how do we now incorporate open education in this young system of education that we are having? So again, one of the components when we will be having an in-person meeting is how we can incorporate open education in CBC. CBC is the initial, now the current system that's being introduced. It's still at its level. This is, I think, its 9th year or 10th year, but we still feel that there is still time to bring in some aspects of open education for purposes of not just training those who are already mature in universities, but also the young ones who are coming up can be in a position to benefit from it. We launched our hub on the 9th of October. That is a week or 2 weeks ago. This was to introduce the Kenyan Open Education Knowledge Equity we introduced the members who came in. This was a webinar which took place for at least 2 hours. We had so much to share around that. The highlights of it was that the members were able to we were able to introduce the hub, the vision, the mission, and the roadmap where we will wish to see this particular hub go. We engaged the participants in knowing their research areas. They were able to share their research areas. I know it was a little bit short time for them to share extensively on what they are engaged in, but more of it will be expanded during the in-person. We were able to recruit some GoGN members. I'm very sure Beck told me that she had received some application on the side, and I've already received some comments from the side that you have already communicated to a number of them. So we will want to increase the GoGN membership from these sides of the world, and then also provide a roadmap of the world of the hub during that particular time. So this was the launch. We had approximately, was the 31, I think 31 members who attended the launch on that very day. The inclusivity of this particular hub was really evident in the applications. And this is what made us so happy. The number of female who registered for this was 67 who are doing a PhD, and this to us was very, very commendable compared to men who applied to be part of this. And to us, 67, when you are dealing with a situation whereby you are trying to amplify the voices of the people who we might suggest that have not heard the voice as far as their studies is concerned and so forth, this is so commendable. And for us, we'll wish to nurture this more and more and then bring them on board. We have representations from both rural and urban universities, and this again to us is a big plus to us, because we are not only benefiting. Education is not only to benefit the high class, those who are in the urban centers, but also those who are in the rural. And those who are in the rural, yes, they are meant also to help the voices that are in the rural. So again, it's not just we just leaving them, giving the education to them as an end in themselves, but also become ambassadors in the near future. We want to amplify their voices more and more. We will see even when they were trying to present and indicate what they are trying to do, there are still a little bit fear. There's still some fear, not strong enough, bring out the point. And again, these are some of the things that we will want to nurture in them. So how can you be confident of what you are doing and how can you amplify it? And then we'll want to provide some level of equality among them so that access to this particular information is not only limited to those who have, because again, while we are coming together, yes, some information might not be accessible to me or to person A, but person B might have it. So how this particular network is creating an avenue whereby they can share the resources from wherever they are. Our roadmap of planned activities we hope to, we have had an online, which is a webinar. Now we are preparing for an in-person, which we'll want to hold one full day workshop. There's so much that we will want to discuss around this, but we might not be in a position to accomplish in one single day, but we will move the remaining ones into subsequent webinars. One of the things that has really come out, according to Kenya, the Commission of University Education in the country, one has to publish before they graduate. And one of the challenges, when they were mentioning some of the challenges they have or some of the expectation is to be trained on how to publish and how to share their research, where to publish this particular research. And ours is to signpost them to open access avenues such that this particular information that they will be sharing will be available to everyone. So these are some of the things. We have so much around AI and research, which is something that is coming out so much. We'll have to deal with that. We have issues to do with supervision and so forth, and the response to supervisor comment and so forth. Again, we have somebody who will be dealing with that. And then we will have virtual webinars between November and December. We'll focus more on research sharing and regional policy around open education. Then we'll wish to provide more of mentorship. We have people who have even volunteered to head each, because within this network, we'll create some other smaller groups within that, and each group will have a mentor, somebody to take them through. So we will wish to continue with online mentorship and policy recommendations around that. So our team is made up of 6 people. I am the lead. We have a lady called Dr. Penina. We have Professor Mwanzu. We have Madam Ruth, John Gesso, and Joel Nakitare. And all of them are supported by KLISC and GoGN network. We wish to welcome everyone who will want to join us, particularly in the Kenyan context and East Africa. And the reason why I'm bringing in the entire larger East Africa we focused mostly on people who are doing their PhD within the country, because we wanted to have a feel of the experience. What are they experiencing as far as access to information and what the topics that they are doing. And we realized that even some of the people who are doing PhD in the country, some of them were from the larger East Africa. So we have some Ugandan, we have a Tanzanian within the group. So that's the reason why we wish this to be looked at, not just as a Kenyan aspect or Kenyan hub, but an extension of the entire region. So we wish to bring in more and more people within this. Yes, the in-person might be a little bit limited, but the webinars will be more open to as many people as we can. So, our main aim is to create an open and equitable future for education in Kenya or in East Africa. And you can contact us through the email that I've indicated there for purposes of trying to move GoGN and these local hubs forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Stan. That's fantastic and very exciting to hear about the event you've got coming up as well at the end of October. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and great to see the folks that were joining the session recently as well there. So thank you so much. And we're just going to kind of bring it around. Please feel free to share any questions that you have. I'm conscious of time, so what I wanted to do is now just move us on to kind of next steps overall, if that's all right with everybody, and then we can take a moment to look at what's coming up going forward. So I'm just going to share one slide here, but I'd like to say a very big thank you to all of the hubs, just our gratitude for those fantastic presentations and such exciting and important work happening around the world. As Rob said in the chat, we've been very excited to kind of share more with the network. So it's brilliant that we've got the opportunity to bring everybody together to do that today. So yeah, please do, if you're watching this recording, reach out, get involved with the work that you've heard about, really exciting kind of stuff. So look out, many people in their presentations indicated there's lots of activities coming up, lots of kind of future events, blog posts, webinars, sharing what's happening, outputs from the work, continuing conversations, connecting and engaging across GoGN as we kind of move forward. We have our knowledge exchange event in early 2026. Look out for more on that. And that will be available in early November. So we'll be contacting people about that. We've obviously got an ongoing evaluation. We've got the evaluation reporting that will happen in spring 26. We will be sharing that again in a webinar, and some of the reflections and the lessons learned, and kind of sharing those with you all. And then, as I mentioned earlier as well, that kind of work that we're doing, that kind of reflection and evaluation will be informing our future planning going forward as well. So all really exciting things happening at the moment. Yeah, we're just very fortunate and grateful for everybody's contributions and participation in that work. I'm going to stop sharing now and just say a big thank you to all of our presenters, all of our fantastic hubs for sharing more on their work today. It's been really wonderful to have you all in one space, and we really do appreciate the opportunity and the work that you're doing. It's so vital and important, and we're so excited to see what happens over the coming months and to share that with everybody. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming on the call today. So thank you.